is go to the newspapers and just pull out charts and graphs and so on. And I'll bring it back and blow it up and have students describe the graph, tell the story of the graph or the chart. So there might be a chart in the papers on income distribution. So I come in, I'll say, well, what is on the vertical axis? What is on the horizontal axis? And they'll tell me the story based on the title and so on. But I want to replicate this process here so I can make this exercise more interactive. So what I'm going to do, we're going to just describe what's going on there, but I'll have to have a volunteer. Maybe Peter, you can help me since you all up and running. Could you just tell me what's the title? What is the story this chart is telling you? So Peter, oh, you can.
Peter? Yeah.
As I see it, the chart is.
Increase the size of your.
I apologize. I just want to, can someone close that Grammarly box so that this is bigger for us?
Wait.
Yeah, the Grammarly part. Thank you.
Could you repeat that, Margaret? I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, the Grammarly, see on the side over on the right, can you shut that so it gets bigger for us to view? Come over to the right. See that?
There's a little X on the upper right hand corner.
Oh, see, yeah. in your window. Mm-hmm.
If I go to the right, I'm going to lose an age.
Ezra, on the next to Grammarly,
X.
There's an X next to the
Down,
word Grammarly.
not that one. Lord, no.
You see the word Grammarly? All right,
Now, see it now, the right-hand side's cut off.
Yeah, got it. Okay, I closed it. Right.
Yeah, you have to move it more to the left.
To the left?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Better.
Ezra, there's a little X. If you see a blue share thing, if you look under that, a little ways down, there's an X. You can click on that X.
Yeah.
See that X.
Down lower, yeah.
See the X. It's not X there.
You can't see the left side.
Then you can zoom back out just slightly.
Is the Grammarly still showing up?
You could increase the size just slightly, and then it'll fill the screen.
Oh, man.
Using the same
Look
zoom
in the
feature
lower-
at the bottom.
Yeah, lower right corner.
Control,
Just click the plus a couple of times.
Is this better?
A little bit more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah, that looks manageable.
Thank you. I wear glasses, but I can't see a thing.
Thank you, Margaret. Okay, Peter is going to tell the story. When he looks at this chart, this framework, what story comes across? Just in a descriptive way. Starting with the title.
Okay, safeguarding the ICH in Grenada. We're speaking about the practice. And we have columns and we have rows. And we have here, what is the focus in terms of the priority, the desired accomplishments, the considerations. And we see as well headings like structure, the ICH leaders practice process, and some of the evidence. How would we confirm whatever assumptions that are made, or how will we verify what the reality is currently as well as in the future as we actually do the work? And we see here that this involves professionals, it also involves community persons, and it's in one pictorial presentation, you can have a complete understanding of where we are at any time with regard to this project.
Thank you, Peter. Couldn't do it better. So what we have is a framework that describes the way we're going to work, but it also tells you what the design looks like, the structure, the components, or the organizations and individuals that will be doing the work or where the work resides. So that will be the first column. If you look at the first column, it tells you the structure. Professional training that's required, professional development that's taking place now. And I fill that one out for you. In the professional development or training, what Nigel did for us, he communicated the expectations. He facilitated the learning. He built leadership capacity through the training that we got. And during the course of the week, we are able to reflect and tell, monitor our progress along that continuum of professional development. But before I continue, I want to go back to one thing. That is, there was a lot of discussion during the course of the week about what a focus is, what a policy is. We talk about the Grenada's culture policy and so on. But here, this is a suggested focus or priority that we will be working with. And let me just read it for you. Our focus is on educating, offering services, and hosting workshops to advance ICH by empowering communities, including practitioners and other beneficiaries, to safeguard Grenada's culture and heritage. That's the work we'll be doing. And that work lives in the structure, all the various organizations that are involved in this work. That's what we'll be doing. The accomplishments that we're shooting for, or the desired accomplishments, practitioners and community beneficiaries will employ evidence-based practices to make decisions about safeguarding ICH. And that is very important. Evidence-based practices, things that we can cite, we can refer to, that we'll have live in some place, a repository or a database, but whatever we say, whatever we do has to be evidence-based. The third column deals with the things that the context or the parameters that we have to work with. One is we need to have a shared vision for ICH safeguards. That's something that came across during the course of the week. The ICH culture and training programs, we need to, excuse me, that's one of the priorities that we're working within. We need to have an environment that is safe, efficient, and adequate. We need community beneficiaries, practitioners identifying the elements, because ICH work is inconceivable without community involvement. And in our work, there needs to be integrity, fairness, and there was a lot of discussion about ethics. And lastly, which is something that dominated the proceedings during the course of the week, is the context in which we work. It's political, it's social. As a matter of fact, in the chat today, there was a lot of discussion about implementing ICH in the schools. And a lot of what came out was about those constraints, those contextual, those institutional constraints that sometimes can really prevent any movement from moving the needle. So those are things we have to be concerned about. And we also talk about we need to have a legal, safeguards as this work continues, and so on. So that's basically the parameters we're working within, and we have to be cognizant of them as we move forward. So just look at the structure. I have professional development and community stakeholders. Below those two, I have just about a representative sample of all the organizations that's participated in this workshop. And each organization is expected to complete their cell for intangible cultural heritage leaders practice, their cell for what their processes will look like, and their cell for the evidence they will have to represent the elements that they will be working with. So let's just look at what we expect in the professional training. Okay, I already spoke about leaders practice, the processes. Let's look at the processes. That is the actions that you will be taking. So we expect in the professional development, we're going to have support with site visits, missions. I think Nigel spoke about accessing professional development opportunities on an individual basis, conferences, workshops, and so on. You do that on your own. There might be some that's offered through UNESCO or through the National Trust, but those are the type of things that that constitute process. There'll be team meetings. Community and practitioners will be doing their transmission work, the safeguard work, and inventorying assessment cycles. Evidence of that work as far as professional development, there was a training plan, training artifacts. Adriana went through some of that. We hope to do site visits coming up as a team. There'll be community and ICH practitioners work and self-reflections. We'll be doing that today, evaluations and so on. So that's the kind of things we will be doing on the professional development part of the structure. What we expect community shareholders to do, building leadership capacity. We are doing that through the workshops. We have many communities represented here. They'll have their schedules so we can see it when it's done, so it's documented. Their strategy for moving forward, what they're going to do, like in a year's time, when you have a series of scheduled activities that will take place that will involve community building and so on, and progress monitoring. Each step of the way, what are you doing towards that end goal? So we expect that from the communities as far as their practice. Then what are some of the processes? The processes are group meetings where possible, they're planning meetings, sharing experiences, and so on. Intervisitations, we had conversations about cross-border work yesterday. We talked about intervisitations, community visiting community, teachers visiting different schools, and so on. And such as, communities, school and others to look at best practices, because that's basically what we're trying to do. And lastly, for evidence as far as community stakeholders, we expect to see artifacts such as photos, recordings, or videos of ICH work. Okay, narratives about experiences. Those are the type of documentation, those are the type of things we need coming out of each part of the structure as far as participants, so that we can have that inventory, we can have that list, so that if we have to move to something else, we will have the evidence to show that the work is done and is continuing. So the inventories, and if we need to do nominations, it will come from that work. And what I want to do now is to just show you, give you an example of what we expect moving forward. So for example, I have these organizations here. I have the Grenada National Trust. They will have to do an activity like the two I just did for in their own context. The state, we have representatives of the state here, Ministry of Education, and maybe other ministries. They have to do a similar thing. I'm pretty sure that Marlene and Ms. Finley right now couldn't have those two cells completed. Why? Because they already showed us, demonstrated to us what they are doing in their individual classrooms. Lesson plans, student assessment, trips, shows. Marlene showed us some of the work that she did. She even have a notebook that was created exclusively for the work they're doing around an element in the ICH. So before Ms. Finley and Marlene leaves today, I would like to have their cells completed. All right, so the work starts right now. We have Ministry of Youth, we have NGOs here today. I expect something from the NGOs. What would be your contribution to this ICH work, and how are you going to document it so we can get that in play? Because later on, when we have to do a periodic report into the UNESCO, we need to show that work, but we also need to show the alignment all the way up to the domain, so that we can show that we're not spitting top in mud, as my mother would say. Okay. And we expect the same thing from members of the public who are participating in a professional capacity. I know we have retired teachers We have private schools. We had Mr. Mayor of Lutheran Schools actually gave us some examples of the things he's doing. So he could also complete his cells, 2 cells, 3 cells for us by, by tomorrow. We have tour guides that was mentioned. Nigel should do his cells. We have UNESCO there. Daryl, we expect Nigel to complete the cells, even though we know he's doing the professional training, but I like to see it in his handwriting. We need, we're going to employ the media to do this work. So now they will have to do that. I mean, it will require some conversations and so on, but we expect the media to be represented in this framework. And also we need to have some conversation about how we're going to get some legal representation here. So this constitutes how we want to do this work and where we want to locate it. So what I want you to do is now maybe we get you a copy and begin thinking about what your practice would look like, what your process would look like, and what are the evidence you'll be using to demonstrate that you are implementing the ICH game plan. Thank you.
Wow.
Nigel?
Over to you.
All
Nigel.
right. All right. So we have here a framework that is proposed based on the experience of the week. So I want to congratulate Ezra for being able to conceptualize this, because this isn't an easy thing to do. And what you have done, Ezra, you've identified the actors and you've given a specific task, to say, okay, what is the practice, what is the process, and what is the evidence that we need. What I would like to ask persons to do now, and we will endeavor to record this. I could even, if you share this with me, I could even type as persons make comments. What I'd actually like to do, so that we are clear and specific, we go from person to person in the workshop and we ask for that one thing in terms of practice. Where do you see yourself in the process? And what evidence will you be able to provide, or do you envision as a result of being involved in the practice and going through the process, no? So you don't have to think of many things. We hope to, we're looking for that one thing, of that one thing, no? So I will, you ask me to start, I'll give an example using myself.
Well, Nigel, before you continue, I sent that to you last night on WhatsApp. So if you can download your WhatsApp, that might be the shortest way for you to get a copy.
I just sent it again.
Okay.
Right, yeah. This hasn't been amended in any way, right? Since that time.
No.
Okay, I just sent it again.
Okay, 1 second. Let me bring that up. Okay, I'm seeing it now. All right. So if you would allow me instead then to share my screen, since I've downloaded it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you can see my screen? Is it?
Yes.
So you've outlined a process, a structure you want us to use, Ezra, right? And so on the left, you have here the structure, and what you've identified professional development as a part of the structure, You've identified community stakeholders as part of the structure. And then you have under structure, you have identified individual organizations, right? And so I'm walking through what you have proposed here. And then you want to know what the practice will be, what the process will be, and what evidence we can provide. Okay, so let me use myself as an example. You have already outlined some of it up here, but let me identify you. So I will speak for as the UNESCO consultant. UNESCO is as a whole is rather difficult to grasp. All right. So that's for the, I'll say GT for the Grenada.
Yeah.
Let me try and develop a thing here. Grenada Intangible Cultural Heritage Team. And just like, right? So, provide support and advice. My contacts is advice and support the overall process, right? Because in practice, I have been engaged with Daryl and Adriana for a few years, a couple years now.
Yep.
Starting with some training there. And so in terms of the process, so participate directly in workshops and training. Assist with preparation of implementation and procedural documents. So just as you're doing now, you've created this. So I will assist with that as we look at it. And then as a third thing here, support the overall process. Part of the process is stop, or I'll say maintain here, in a line of communication with the GICHT. All right. And the evidence of that will be, in the first instance, the preparation of workshop. I'll just shorten it here. Workshop timetable, work plan, delivery of the workshop content, completion of training of workshop participants, email threads, and WhatsApp group communications, and maintaining. And that will cover that. So that is how I understand what it is that you have proposed as a structure. Is that satisfactory to you, Ezra?
Yep, that is fantastic. And I hope while you were doing that, everyone attending was thinking already, mulling over in their own minds. Yes, this is the sort of format and way, the process.
Okay.
So thanks for the demo.
Okay.
And Nigel,
Okay.
and if Daryl as the Minister of Integrity going to do a site visit, he's going to ask you for your evidence, right? And I think you have it there. So that's the point.
Okay.
You don't just write stuff down. It has to be. It has to be. In some cases, we have to feel it. Photograph, a agenda. You know, something. It has to be tangible. So, not playing on words here, but it has to be something you can feel and touch.
Yeah.
In the evidence part.
Yeah. Okay. So back to you, Ezra.
So, Daryl, I know we running out of time, but I would have liked members here to take a little. I know if we can share the framework with them, to spend about a 5-6 minutes in the team or individually and do what you just did.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure how that will.
What we could
violate your procedure for today, but I
What-
would like
what-
to see that activity done. I'm not sure how the folks in Zoom land will be doing, but you should also endeavor to do the same thing. I mean, we
Okay,
can
so-
do the compliance here, but I'm not sure with Zoom land. But eventually, you'll have to do it if we're going to get this work done.
well, I would actually recommend. I would like to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to actually recommend that we play a song from Grenada.
Why we do that?
And in the duration of a song, I'd like to ask let's do a roll call here. If you are here, please say present. I guess that's the old school way, no? If you can open do we have representation from the Grenada National Trust?
Well, yes.
So
far.
when we say the state, what do you mean by the state here, Ezra?
All the remaining ministries, I guess, because I use a state because in the UNESCO literature they refer to the state, and usually the state. I was thinking mostly of the public side, meaning the governmental side.
So do we have representation here from the Ministry of Education?
Either take out the state or put the individual ministries, but that would be a lot. The ones that participated.
So
3 or 4.
So therefore,
Right.
as far as I know, culture, education, tourism, and youth.
Okay. Do we have representation of the Ministry of Education? If you're here,
Actually,
please
youth
say
is
present.
The full name is longer than that. Youth and sports and cooperatives, a lot of stuff. Yes.
And
So
these
just leave youth. Youth would do.
All right. So do we have representation here right now of the Ministry of Education?
And tourism. Yeah.
We have representation of the Ministry of Education. If you're here, please indicate somehow.
Okay.
Do we?
What's that?
Yeah,
Gloria has
can
her hand
work.
up, so let's hear her.
I'm a teacher. Teacher can work, right?
Say it again.
I'm a teacher, so who is employed by the Ministry of Education.
Okay, let's I see we have teachers here. Do you want to treat teachers as separate or as a part of the ministry?
we have private school well, this list of organizations I took from the National Trust list of organizations or sectors, and so we had a retired teacher that has a lot of knowledge about ICH. So I was hoping that there are many of them, and that's why I put that there.
I have a question. a burning question, Nigel?
Yes, ma'am. I
Yes,
see
sir.
Brenda is suggesting here breakout groups, but I don't think we would have had to have created those prior to, right? Sorry, go ahead. What a question, Gloria, was that you?
Yes, yes. I am unclear as to where I fit. I was asked to start that process of collecting information, aligning the standards outlined by the Ministry of Education and assigned to the different grades to the intangibles. So I will have done some of that already. Now, when I'm looking at deliverables and I want to understand how many documents are to be presented, because I noticed that there is a new approach now from the workshop that we need to go into communities and start inventorying all of the ICH elements that we would find all over the place. We have to work with a team of persons, right? And also there's the education aspect, which is going to align, well, I guess, fit it into the different curriculums of grade 5 and 6. So I want to ask, how many documents are we producing? Because the inventorying is a long process. And by July of this year, we must have something to present to the teachers who are going to be involved in the training. So my question is really, really burning to know what are we producing by July?
Oh, okay. So what I understand this mechanism or structure that's proposed here is not only for the implementation of the project, but for the medium and long-term implementation. So you could, I'm just thinking out loud, if you already know and envision a role in the current project, you could state that, but also think of a longer-term role that you might want to say something about that, no? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I'm not really speaking specifically about the template that is up now. That's template that's up now. I'm speaking generally. What are the expectations of GNT or of UNESCO in terms of what is produced by July of this year for the training with the teachers?
Yeah, you, Daryl or Adriana, would you want to address that? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the first step for us was starting to work on the curriculum development. And we knew that that would be a two-step process because you'd have a first iteration of it. And by the time people started doing the inventorying, then there would be feedback and maybe more items would be added to the curriculum work so that the curriculum work would be like 2 clear steps over the next 16 months. The inventorying will start around July after the workshops are complete. So there would not be any inventory input before the latter half of the year. The first half of the year really is mainly just working out how we're going to work this and getting the training, all the training done. So by July, we wouldn't have an output document in terms of the workshop, apart from like attendance and feedback ideas and so on. And the final structure, you can see today we have an output document, which is the framework that we'll be working with. But that kind of document would be the output by July, how we work and the techniques we use.
All right. Well, I hope that helps to clarify it, except that I would recommend strongly that in terms of this document, that it think of the medium to long term, no? Because that is the project is a project. What you should be thinking 4, 6, 8, 10 years or 5, 10, 15 years in those terms, no?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have representation from the Ministry of Education then. The Ministry of Culture, do we have the culture here?
Yes.
Present.
Present. Thank you. Ministry of Youth. Ministry of Youth.
But instead of in addition to staying present, just say your name so that we can
Mhm.
tick it off on our list.
Mhm.
So Culture, if you could repeat your name.
Okay, I am Alison Cabellet.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Ministry of Youth. Ministry of Youth.
They may not be in today because they have a funeral. One of their members' mom died. So you may not get to them in today.
Okay, thank you. Ministry of Tourism. Ministry of Tourism. Anybody from tourism here?
Yes, Kim Julian.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you. The Grenada Cultural Foundation. I think I saw Sherma.
Yes.
This morning. Sherma, are you here?
Yes, she's online.
She's online. She was in the chat.
And the CEO is here.
Okay.
He just stepped outside for a minute.
Okay. The Grenada Tourism Authority, is that different from the ministry?
East Cultural Foundation.
Yes.
Okay, so
Considering Spice Mars part of Cultural Foundation.
Grenada Cultural Foundation.
That may be wrong. That may be wrong. Spice
Grenada,
Mars, you're right.
Grenada Tourism Authority is here. And that is separate from the Ministry of Tourism. Is that correct?
Yes, separate.
Okay. We have here diaspora. Who's representing the diaspora here? Who would like to represent diaspora? I know a couple persons here.
I think Tahira, research is on, is it not Tahira? Somebody, Tesfa.
Yes, I'm here. Have I been recruited to that role?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here, yes.
Is this ICH technician? Is that what you're referring to here, Ezra?
Oh, those are the technicians. Yeah, I guess those are the paid folks. Technicians, ICH technicians.
Is there
About
anyone?
7, 8 of them.
Okay. Is there anyone here? We call them technicians. Do you mean practitioners? You mean?
Well, practitioner. Maybe. 1 second, Nigel. ICH technician is a person that you recruited.
You know, Nigel.
Yes, sir.
I refer to the CEO of Spice Mars as being a representative of Cultural Foundation because Spice Mars comes under them. So I don't know how, but it's such a major singular item. I don't know if that requires a separate line.
We could do that. We could do
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm here.
Nigel, Adriana can tell you about the ICH tech.
Hi, Nigel.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
The ICH technicians are working or will be working under the supervision of the ICH coordinators. So the way that we are envisioning it, we think about it is that the ICH coordinators already there. Potentially, we need to secure Petit Martinique if it's going to be covered by Carriacou. So we have the ICH coordinators with a specific job descriptions, and they will be planning and meeting and overseeing and supervising the ICH technicians. So they have to do these schedules, meetings, once they are trained in order, because I know that most of the people here, all the coordinators are also engaged to their different job positions as well. They're sharing this commitment, but at the same time, they have to look at which will be the best schedule and viability in order to to plan this and to gather and meet the ICH technicians. So the way that we are thinking, maybe there will be 4 ICH coordinators, and under their team or within their the respective teams, 4, 5, or 6 person with these different backgrounds and expertise, like we told ICH experts, research, journalists, photographers, and so on. In terms of having this complete team. So if they are more than 5 or 6, that will be wonderful. But again, our budget is kind of limited in the quantity of persons. But if more people show up as a volunteer, they will be wonderful, because this technician will be working and guided by the ICH coordinators. Thank you.
Okay. Let me ask. Do we have any coordinators or
there's one thing I would like to remind everyone is that even if you're here representing an organization, we still need your name, because if we have to be in touch with that organization, we want to speak to the person who participated in the sessions. Otherwise, what do we do? Who do we ask for? There'll be a scramble and so on. We need names. So consider that you're here in your personal capacity as well as the organization, because it's your enthusiasm and passion that has you here in the first place. So this is what we're trying to. We need everybody's name as well as the organization they represent. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Carol or Nigel, where does the Lily Red Hat Foundation fit into this chart?
I think I can see we're getting to it right now. I was going to create either next to NGO, a category that says NGOs and cultural organizations and private cultural organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Would that fit?
Yeah.
That cover
heritage? If we just say heritage, it covers
heritage organizations.
Yeah.
That's better.
Because it's quite something, even with the categories when on the inventory list. When we say things like performing arts, what we're really looking for is traditional performing arts. Because if it's just a contemporary stuff that's running today, it's not really part of what we're trying to preserve. We're trying to preserve the stuff that is at risk of being lost.
Yeah, it could be. It could be if it's contemporary dance inspired by traditional.
Yes, but there has to be a link.
Right.
Otherwise, it will make it too broad. Of course, what we're doing today would be heritage in 30 years' time, but for now, we can't capture everything as current. Yeah.
So let me ask, do you have coordinators and technicians here? No?
Well, the coordinators would be like Andrea McLeod and Marlene and Peter. Okay,
good. So cultural festival representation, is that would this adequately represent Spice Mass, or do you want to put that separately?
Well, you see, Spice Mass might be the biggest one, but all those little like fishing boat and Fish Friday, the work boat regattas, and so we actually need one from each event.
They have a street fair.
Yeah.
So what would you call those? How would you describe those types of events? ICH community events?
Yes, community events.
Here we have the festivals committee. And then from there are the festivals underneath that. So Sky is chairman of that. And then we have, for example, as you mentioned, chairman of the regatta committee, chairman of the whatever committee. I know that we have a committee here. I wish, I was hoping GTA was on a call. They could clarify that relationship a lot better.
So what would be the best way to capture
She's asking about the subcommittees, all the different festivals. How are we going to get that list of the festivals that run?
Can I intervene at
Have a
this
list.
time? Hello?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Who's that? Is that you,
Sherma
Sherma?
Wells here from the Cultural Foundation.
Okay, Sherma.
If I may say here that the Cultural Foundation is the umbrella body for almost all of the entities that you have been referring to. Community groups, parish organizations, the Caracou Festival Board, they all fall under our jurisdiction as an umbrella body. Spice Mass, Seydu Spod, Fisherman's Birthday Organization in St. John. So a plethora of these, or all of these organizations fall under the umbrella of the Cultural Foundation. We would have details and information as it relates to membership and all that you may require from us. We know that Spice Mass operates as an autonomous body, but they're still under the umbrella of the Cultural Foundation as well. So we can always furnish you or participate in any meaningful way that you may require to reach out to these people.
Okay, let me ask, how would you categorize, would you recommend treating them with some autonomy where they're able to function and participate in the ICH implementation going forward independently, or would you prefer that there is some cooperative action through the foundation?
Right.
Well, we have sent a number of them, I think 20 odd persons out from those groups to you. So we expect that they would participate at that level. Beyond that, if you may require any further furtherance of their development or involvement, we can always play a role, you know, but we do expect them to operate at an independent level.
Okay, that sounds excellent, because then what I can envision here is that you, the foundation, thinking of ICH support for the organizations, and then I can envision the organizations seeing themselves as being involved in safeguarding at their level as well. So even though you're part and parcel of the same picture, you would have separate functions and roles to play. If I'm understanding the process correctly, is that reasonable?
That's reasonable.
Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. So we have here do we have a historian or historians here?
Angus.
Yeah.
Angus.
Do we have any other researchers or social scientists or other types of persons of that sort, of that nature?
Historians, museums, and archivists, because how are we going to include Mr. Rome in Munich? And where does Grenada National Museum, Caracou Museum, where would that fit in? And the library, the public library, which still exists in theory.
Historians, archivists, librarians, and let's say just researchers.
Museums.
Yeah.
Museums. What do you call persons who work in museums?
If I may also add to this, there is a museum board. The museum also falls under the Cultural Foundation as a national museum. Caracou is a sort of separate entity, and so is Mr. Rome. But we do have a very active museum board as well, chaired by Genevieve John. So they should be taken into consideration as well.
Okay. All right. Should we put them as a separate entity here, or should we leave it in this category?
I think you could. I think you could. You know, they have their own autonomy as well. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, separately, you mean?
Yes, I think you can put them separately, yes.
You have any anthropologists? There's a random question.
No.
All right, yeah. All right, so you have NGOs and heritage organizations.
Hi, Nigel. Yes, I put it in the chat. Yes, I do for my research. I do engage anthropological methods in my research. So I'm
Okay.
I do have some anthropological training and expertise, yes.
Okay, so we have all right, I'm seeing it here. Yeah, so we have curators, anthropologists.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, and Jonathan Hanna too he's almost living here. We have a few university people who are regularly here.
Museum board, and I'll put their curators. No? So NGOs and heritage organizations, this would be, so would Willie Redhead, for example, fall under community heritage events organizations, or would you just classify that as a separate type of heritage organization?
Heritage like the National Trust.
Maria?
Hmm? Sorry. Oh, so, so this would be separate set a separate grouping than the groups that would fall under the foundation. Is that right?
Yes, it's just like the National Trust, same, just pure heritage, and it's not really a community organization. It looks after the community, but it's a heritage management.
Does this category stand in NGOs and heritage organizations?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do we have observers in the room? Yes. Yes. Okay. I guess most of us, right?
Yeah.
No, we do have an observer. We do have an observer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we have an observer who is a documentary photojournalist, I think.
I see. I see. All right, let's separate that.
Maria Mafla.
And we have teachers, active and retired. There's no such thing as a retired teacher, is there?
So, Nigel, I'm an active teacher. I'm actually sitting in my classroom now.
Okay, who's that?
Tahira.
Oh, Tahira, okay.
I'm also a teacher as well. My name is Janelle.
Janelle John?
Yes.
Okay, Janelle. So, private schools, do we have representation of private schools?
My friend Friedel, who was on earlier, is with the Grenada Institute. He had to leave to go teach, but he's been on all week. Friedel Logie.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Do we have public schools present?
Yes, I am in a public school, public secondary.
Okay.
I am in a public primary school.
Okay, good. We'll have to break this down just for public schools, primary and public school, because they have slightly different ways of writing curriculum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have private secondary schools too?
Yeah.
You know what's impressive about this whole thing? You have a very wide representation.
Now, a few lines up under historians, archivists, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
After anthropologists, put archaeologists.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
How can we forget the archaeologists?
Nigel, we can't forget Andrea at TAMCC. TAMCC is just the tertiary level, beyond the secondary, and they may be doing different types of work there. Oh, yes, Andrea? Oh,
Tertiary level, tertiary education.
Well,
Oh, we have
Why do we need to break it up between private and public?
If you're religious school, you might do something.
We have public, religious.
yeah. Speed of reaction. I mean.
Yes, that is a good point.
Mhm.
And we group to implement.
Yeah. Reminded me of archaeologists. I'm tempted to make a joke about them, but I'm resisting the urge. So tour guides, any tour guide in the house?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Good. Who's that?
What's your name? Amani Holas.
Amani Honas. Okay. We have representation from Spice Mass.
Yes.
You want to treat
Yes.
Spice Mass as a separate stakeholder?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any? We have here a documentary photographer, a documentalist,
Yes.
maybe.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Let's do that separately. Let's say photography and videography, no? This is a key area. We have members of the media. Well, we did.
Spice Mass, one word.
Yeah. What's his name? Antoine. Not Antoine. What's his name? Campbell?
Right.
Colin Campbell.
And when you say legal, do you have any legal persons like from the?
Well, I'm trying to recruit one, Nigel.
Okay. So here's what we'll do. It's a very straightforward exercise. We won't probably get to Arbolete. We'll want at least one of the ministries to respond. We'll want the Grenada Cultural Foundation to respond. We'll want the Spice Mass to respond. Let's ask Spice Mass. Let's ask the Grenada Tourism.
But just want to clarify something here. We're really looking here for organizations and not so much individuals. And taking Spice Mass as an example, it's Spice Mass is two things. Spice Mass is an event, the name to describe it. And it's also Spice Mass Corporation, an organization. So what we're looking for here is a corporation so that we have a contact point. And the same thing with museums. A museum that has a board, it's really the board you want to talk to and not the curator. In the case of Tony Rome, he's everything. So, but it's just a matter of getting it in our minds, what or who are we contacting?
Yeah, I would say, however, while you are correct, that you have these entities, sometimes, I think Margaret referenced it earlier in the week, sometimes you have persons their weight is so heavy that they can open any door. And so sometimes you do want to engage those types of persons on your team, no?
They're like an institution.
Right. So if I could recap here, we'd like to ask all of the groups we have identified here. Do we have any practitioner or knowledge bearer in the workshop of any kind of ICH? Of any kind of ICH? Anybody? Any practitioner of any ICH element?
We do, but they're wearing different hats already. So we have
it doesn't matter. I would like we do
practitioners outside of their other duties.
Yeah, I would like for one of them to play the role for today.
Danny,
a practitioner rather than
and Danny Donlan, tour guide, I think a tour guide or sailor.
Any practitioner?
Yeah, so I gave you 3 already.
Okay, okay. So I'd like for at least one of them or 2 of them to play the role of practitioner knowledge bearer today for the purposes here, and not the role of representing an institution, no? Or some organization. It's important to get their perspective. So what we'll do, if we'll just take 5 minutes and think about it quickly in terms of what we have here. And we won't insert all of it, because what I would recommend Ezra and Daryl is that you use this template that you've produced and you do a separate half more exercise on a Saturday, where you just discuss it and then you fill it out, no? And then it will give you a big picture of the situation and of what's possible here in Grenada, no? Which is it's impressive that you were able to come up with this, Ezra, because what it does, it creates an opportunity for all of the stakeholders, right? All of the concerned communities, groups, and individuals in collaboration with the state. So the easiest way to approach this is to think of the role. Remember, we went through the role of NGOs, the role of the state, the role of organizations. Just think about it in terms of the primary role that you play, and then jot down what you believe to be, in the first instance, what would be the practice, those actions, behaviors, in the response to what we're doing now, the processes that you would participate in. Now, it doesn't have to be, an important thing to think about this part of the process is it doesn't have to be the project process that's going on now. You can create your own process. You might already have your own process. Like if you're a Spice Mass or you're the Sailing Association or so on, you might already have your own process, right? And then what evidence would you propose, no? And then the challenge will be thereafter to look at this, especially the state and its key implementers and focal points. We need to look at this and say, okay, what do we have here? What type of resources do we have on this matter already? Where would we find additional resources in the medium to long term? And that sort of thing, no? Right, so this is an excellent sort of a assessment tool you actually developed here. So let's play a song or 2. And we will reconvene right after that, and we'll take about, not to worry about the final 2 units, they're very short and they're not very technical, it's just something to think about, and then we will reconvene in what, let's say 2 songs, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, right? Margaret, do you have a comment?
One big song.
Yeah, I had a question, but I know we need to go to break, so I'll just.
All right. So let's do that then. Please think of it in your capacity, and we'll come right back to you. Ministry of Education, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Youth. We probably won't get through everyone, but we certainly want to get a cross section, okay?
But and before we go on the break, let us think about how we're going to share this information with the public in case somebody comes up and says, wait a minute, our group is not included here. So we really have to have an exhaustive list. And I don't know if Peter could give some suggestions there on, whether we should have a list like this up on Facebook or somewhere like as a permanent list that people can look at and add to if they think their organization is not represented.
Yeah, you want this to be a public document. That's good. That's good.
Can I just throw, then, I'm sorry, I just want to say, because you are going to want traffic to your website, instead of putting it on Facebook, maybe put it on your website where it actually, it doesn't get buried in the archive somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but we will put a link from Facebook to, because, you know, people go there, and it's the other thing I was going to recommend after the break was that we get everybody's mobile number in addition to your email, because what's happening today is you send an email out and people are not taking email too seriously in terms of constantly checking for email, because they look at WhatsApp for daily for their messages. So we will, when we are circulating information, our primary source of contact will be WhatsApp, a large WhatsApp group with 60 or 70 of us who are interested.
Nice,
and email would also be sent, but it would be this. That's where we expect the secondary response level to be. We expect people to be responding right away to things that come up on WhatsApp.
I have like this vision in my head. If I could just say something, Daryl.
What's
I
that?
have this as we've been going through this, just to have this vision in my head. Like you want what you want in terms of the spirit of it. You see all of these organizations and so on. You want to be able to walk in and out of each other's doors, no? Let me go down to the foundation. I want, and there's something I need to discuss in this matter. I need to go see Maria because Maria, Maria should be able to go down to the Spice Mass, right? And see if there's something. That's the spirit of it all, right? That's the kind of camaraderie you want. And before you know it, we're all liming on a Saturday night, Notice I said we, no?
Yeah, as a practical example, Nigel, you notice that the chat has been very active during this Zoom meeting because we feel it's a platform everybody can get onto. It's easy and it's quick. And we want this kind of chat conversation to continue after today. So it will continue on the WhatsApp platform where any day you can check it and see any questions that people have thrown out or suggestions that people have made. Whereas it's less likely you'll do that with your email. And it's also less likely that you will physically attend somebody else's meeting. So while the concept is open door, the reality is that WhatsApp is going to provide us with that open door access.
One of the ways to connect. All right. Beautiful.
Okay, good. So it's
2 songs
25
and
to
we'll
12,
be back.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll be back at 11:45. Yeah.
All right, I'll leave this on the screen.
Yeah.
Will you play the song, or should I really want to hear some of my taste of music?
Yes, man. We want to hear Belizean stuff.
you want to hear Belizean stuff? Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see then. Let's see.
Hello, I'm Daryl's wife.
Poor
Good morning,
thing.
everyone.
Poor
I'm
thing.
Daryl's wife. Just came to provide some support, so even physical presence. So
I think the note taking manage that. And it's been done
So
online.
I see you got your spouse is checking on you too. You see what this
Yeah.
must pay for
Yes,
it,
yes. We talked about the rail authorities here.
You understand?
Yeah,
I got it was a nice morning. I got water, I got coffee, I treated so nice.
Yeah. Don't worry, when you come to the workshop, you'll get all the warmth.
I'm still a little vexed about the lunch thing though. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. From Nigeria, he's related to the Matthiases who used to live in Grenada and St. Lucia.
I think he's off. He's going to make his coffee.
Mr. Wilfred Peters. Old Peter.
You can go ahead, Daryl, and play the video. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. I was doing as Maria was doing. I was grabbing a quick bite because I've had only a banana since 5 a.m. this morning. Daryl, you want to use this what you're showing here to make a presentation of some sort?
Can you repeat that? Is that comment, the question to me?
No, Maria. I was just saying that I was doing the same thing that you're doing now. I was grabbing a quick bite.
Which campaign? We're doing several, but most relevant to this is our youth outreach program. What we have done is, as a group, we decided that preservation of heritage is too important not to engage young people. Most young people have no idea about why it's important, what it is, how to preserve it. So we approached 2 schools to invite them to participate in a joint program to raise awareness, to involve the young people in discovering what the heritage is that they're needing to protect, and develop a curriculum afterwards so that in the future the school can carry on some of this work. The school we're currently engaged with is Westmoreland School, which is a private school, and they will work with us in field trips, in identifying what is the difference between intangible and built heritage. Why is one important? Why is the other one important? So it's a joint experiential, educational, academic kind of thing that we're doing with them.
Maria, could you hold 1 second for me, Daryl? Could you allow me to share screen? I'd like to write what Maria is saying. Because you notice Maria got right into it, and she isn't wasting any time. She's ready to go. So Maria is representing what's category here? NGO and heritage organization, right?
Organization.
So let me see if I can capture some of what you were saying. The process, you will. I'm just going randomly as I heard it will
The process will be that we are meeting with the parents and the teachers sometime in next week or the week after, and asking them to choose youngsters that are old enough to understand this, that understand the responsibility they undertake by agreeing to participate, and then choosing what it is that we want them to look at. So it could be talking to your grandmother about traditions, festivities, what kind of food you had, what was your Christmas like. And then for the built part, one of the things we were thinking of is community cemeteries. How old are they? Who was the first person buried there? When were they established? Why is it important to know that? So that will be site visits.
Okay, so that's a process you'll undertake. Are you already guaranteed of some of their participation?
Do I have some what?
Are you guaranteed of their participation? They've already agreed to this process?
Well, no guarantee, because we're sort of making it up as we're going along. So it's kind of like a pilot project. Once we're successful with this one, we learn from the mistakes, we can go on to the next school, which hopefully will be the Anglican school, St. George's Anglican School. So no guarantee yet, but the more we involve the teachers and the parents, the more successful we will be. At least that's our hope.
All right, good. So what I'm putting here, because you're projecting an idea that you will undertake, the process would be to work with the schools, parents, and teachers requesting their participation in an ICH project, as well as regarding built heritage. Then, because you're not sure where it will go, we'll put as evidence, you'll say you'll account for student participation in the proposed pilot project. And then let's fill in the first column, ICH leaders practice to
one of the things we want to ask the students with the teacher's assistants is write up what it is they did. So if you interviewed your grandmother, what was it about? What did she say? Why was that important? If you went to the cemetery, which one did you go to? And what did you find? Well, which one was the oldest grave? So reporting back to the foundation is how we're going to evaluate the success of the project.
We're saying that the keep forgetting this first column, the practice will be to assist with heritage safeguarding through engagement of the education sector.
Right.
Let's say engagement of schools.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Maria. You got us off running. So let's take volunteers. But before we do that, let me just I saw a couple things in the chat here. Where is the chat? So the Grenada National Trust. I saw something there. Let me see. Where is it? That's way up there. Is it way up there? So someone from the trust said, we have a person representing the Ministry of Tourism in Foyaba at the conference room. And she has recommendations and mentioned that the ministry is designing a new heritage tourism policy, something like that. So is that person from the trust here? Maybe we can start with that.
I don't know.
Is that person from the trust here today?
No, we don't know where that.
No, yes, no.
I don't see the question. No.
It's a statement made in the chat by the Grenada National Trust. We have a person representing the Ministry of Tourism in Foyaba, the conference room, and she has recommendations and mentioned that the ministry is designing a new heritage tourism policy, something like that. Is someone from the trust here?
Yeah, she's talking about. Yeah, well, the lady from GTA is here.
The Grenada National Trust?
Tourism, okay.
Ministry of Tourism.
Sorry. But no, you see, that statement is that that statement would have come from Tourism Authority or Ministry of Tourism.
I'm seeing it here. I'm seeing here Grenada National Trust wrote it for everyone.
Okay, all right. So it's Ministry of Tourism statement then. Okay.
It's a Ministry of Tourism statement.
Yeah.
No, Nigel, that was Adriana talking about somebody in the live session who is here right now that can go in further detail.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is that person? I'd like to call that person now.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Say your name so he can.
Go ahead.
Can you hear her, Darrell?
Well, she has to speak first. Go ahead. Say something. Your microphone might be off. You logged in? Because I'm not seeing what name are you logged in as a participant.
Yeah, yes, Kate.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I'm logged in. Yeah, I'm logged in. So he's not hearing me?
Well, I don't know. He'll have to say that.
Nigel, are you ready? It's Kate Julian. She's on now.
Yeah, there she is.
Go ahead. Yes.
Nigel, are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Oh, wait. He is off because we're not hearing him. Well, Nigel, we're not hearing your response.
Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you, yes. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
But you see what's happening is that if we can't both speak at the same time inside the room and outside. So while you speak, you wouldn't hear his response. So you go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I hope they're hearing.
Good morning.
Well, basically, in terms of the little assignment that we were asked to do, on the practice, I put us as the ministry as having a supporting role in policy guidelines. And also, the ministry can create a linkage with our community tourism policy framework, which we are currently in the process of developing. And the idea of focusing on community tourism is to reach out to different community groups and organizations and to revive those who may be a bit dormant or not active anymore, and to help them in any way that they need in terms of training and offer support in any way that the ministry can do. And it basically is to take away the focus of the sand, sea, and sun tourism and to bring it more into the communities and give our tourists an opportunity to experience Grenada in a more at the parish level and village level, and for them to have that unique Grenadian experience of whereby persons in the different villages and communities can create livelihoods for themselves and create a better overall tourism product. I also have us as at the tourism level that we can assist with formulating the themes maybe on an annual basis for different parish festivals, in assisting maybe the GTA and the Cultural Foundation in coming up with different themes that we can work on each year, so that each community group and so can do whatever they plan to do based on a theme, so that you don't have the product becoming stagnated or stale, but every year you have an opportunity to produce something different based on the theme. And overall, the ministry would support the overall ICH process. So that is what I had in terms of practice. And in terms of process, meet with the different community groups and organizations in an effort to revive and strengthen those groups by, as I said, offering support and training opportunities. Also maintain a line of communication with all the GICHT. And in terms of evidence, it would be the number of groups engaged and the number of groups who participate in the different training and workshop opportunities. So that in a nutshell is where I got thus far. I hope everybody heard.
That's excellent. Excellent. What's your name?
Kim Julian. K-I-M, Julian.
Thank you very much. Could you look at this, please, to see if it captured? Because I was typing, but I was just trying to understand directly. Could you just look at this to see, please, if I'm missing anything? So supporting the development of policy guidelines, identify linkages between tourism and cultural heritage policy. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's correct.
Focus on community tourism with an emphasis on ICH. Is that correct too?
Focus on community, yes, that's correct.
Support communities directly with training and technical support.
Correct again.
Assist community groups with the development of themes which drive their annual activities.
Yes, correct, yes.
And then in all of that, the process will be through offering support and training opportunities. So, so you would publish this? Would this be a published kind of thing, or will it be, how would you make it known that this is the process?
Well, usually, as Ms. Wells would have indicated, we work along with the GTA, and we could also use the Grenada Cultural Foundation to get all the stakeholders names and contacts, and so we can reach out to them directly.
All right.
And then it would be communicated to the different stakeholders. Yeah, okay.
All right, those are some very specific processes. Good. Maintaining, and then of course maintaining line of communication with whom was it?
GTA and GCF.
Yes, GTA and the parish, the various parish organizations.
All right. Sounds good. And then the way the evidence of it would be in terms of the numbers of workshops, training opportunities, and what, engagements?
Engagements, yes.
Okay. All right. So what you're doing there is creating an enabling environment. That's it. You're supporting that enabling environment structure. Good. All right, thank you for that. Let's go to any volunteers. Let's take a volunteer.
Arlene.
Not ready yet.
Not ready yet? Ms. Finley, you ready? Huh?
I suppose.
Yeah, Ms. Finley, hi, Joe.
Arlene, so you're representing the education sector or the teacher?
Hold on.
Or
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, she doesn't have a computer, sorry. This is Ms. Finley. What's your first, Rachel? Rachel Finley.
Okay,
Rachel Finley.
Okay, so from the private school perspective, and I looked at it in 2 dimensions, from the board aspect and from the teacher aspect. So from the board aspect, it would be implementing curriculum changes to include ICH dissemination. And then also incorporating into the school practice festivals and activities over the school year to display and present ICH practices at the board level. So that's for practice. At the teacher level, it would be raising awareness in the classroom. Then we have disseminating and training in ICH practices, also in the classroom, and discussion and reflection in the classroom. So that's practice. Process would be lectures, lecture formats, where we would have either the teachers for the various subjects, and some of the subjects I pinpointed would be history, social studies, art and English, both language and literature. So lectures on different ICH elements in the country. Then workshops, where we would have practitioners from the community who are available to come in and train and show how some of the skill building things are done, talk about some of the other ICH elements that are not necessarily connected to a physical modality. And then the next thing that we would do is excursions, so site visits to the various locations where specific elements are practiced, so it can be seen in their natural environments. And then we move on to evidence. That these interventions were successful would be from the student end, seeing what they have learned via displays put on by the students and presentations showing what skills they learned, what knowledge they gained. So this is where now the festivals and so on that are organized by the board come into play. So the board, at the board level, they would organize and know whether it is a Hillary term every year or
sorry, Rachel.
Hold on.
Rachel, I didn't get the last minute or so because there's been a sort of feedback that has muffled your voice.
Wait, hold on. Somebody else has a mic open. Let's see.
Okay, what Nigel is saying?
What Nigel was saying is that he wasn't getting the last maybe about a minute because there was a lot of feedback coming through to him.
Okay. So let me backtrack to evidence.
The last thing I heard you say was students presenting.
Okay, so let me just take over a whole of evidence. Okay, so the evidence portion would come from witnessing or seeing what the students have learned by their presentation in the first instance. And this would be seen by now at the board level. Remember I mentioned they would organize so that there would be something like festivals and events within the school. So whether they say that Michaelmas term is for cultural festivals or Hillary, whichever term they decide, so, every year there's an annual cultural festival maybe as one of the things. And now under this cultural festival, the students would put on displays and presentations where they can actually use the skills that they learned, show some of the dances, if it's dances that they learned, and they can demonstrate then that they have internalized this ICH and can carry it on. Another evidence is essay writing, and they can be things like essay writing competitions, telling us about ICHs in the country of Grenada, and different students might choose different ICHs to write about. We select a winner based on how well the essay was done. So this brings in the English aspect of it. And then also we can have an assessment aspect of it where we might do a quiz or debate inter-class competition where the focus is these ICHs and now they can show off their knowledge for recognition, for sharing, for prizes. So there's extra motivation for them to learn the ICH beyond just okay, I'm passionate about culture. Because for some of the students, initially, they may not be all interested in preservation and so on, but when you have a little motivation, a little incentive, they'll be willing to jump in and learn a little bit about it. So that's basically what I have.
Okay, could you look at what's on the screen and see if it reflects what you said here?
Okay, so yes, in a nutshell.
All right, thank you very much.
For those subjects that I mentioned, if you wanted to include them, history, social studies, arts, English language, and literature.
Nice, nice, nice. Thank you for that. Let's go with, let's hear from the photography and videography people if they're in the building or online or on Zoom.
Excuse. I'm Adriana. We have Nigel. Do you hear me?
Yes, Adriana.
We have in the conference room, we have Maria Mafla, which is a documentary photographer. So she has been trained by National Geographic, and she has the skills and the experience in that. You can ask her and I don't know if in the Zoom we have anybody else.
So let's go to the room and meet this lady. Are you there? Miss Mafla? Miss Mafla? Sorry, excuse me if I'm butchering the name. Would I like to meet you?
Okay. Well, maybe I thought what you call it was.
Long time ago, I don't speak kind of clear English, so I try to do my best. No, I'm willing to help in documentary photograph in the whole process.
Excuse me 1 second.
As well, I think.
Wait.
Could
Can you
tell
hear
me?
okay?
Not quite, but I'd like to hear her name first, please.
All right. Just repeat your name.
Okay. My name is Maria Mafla. I'm from Colombia. I'm living here for, I think, 2 years already. I feel like I'm Grenadian already. I have my Rasta and everything. So, I just want to share my knowledge with the organization as a documentary photograph. So as well as graphic designer, I feel like we have the opportunity to build a strong branding here because it's proud of my heritage in Grenada. So we probably could be use the color and putting in our branding, become just building up some strong branding for our project. That's probably my approach to everything that we need to put in there. So because for me, like we need to build in a really strong umbrella in order to spread a good communication to everyone. Like you say, we need to get the people motivated to engage with the branding and understand the concept and everything that we need to communicate. But because it seems like right now, like we have a lot of structure, a lot of organization going to participate, but we need only one channel of communication. Yeah. That's probably my recommendation. So thank you.
Thank you. Sounds good. So you have somebody who is a brand going to help you develop that brand. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Maria. Yeah.
Now we get Spice Mass.
You will do Spice Mass?
Okay.
Okay, so so in terms of our ICH leaders practice, basically what Spice Mass is involved in is the planning. Oh, you're writing?
Yes, go ahead.
Right?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So we are involved in the to plan, coordinate, and execute Grenada's Carnival, which is branded as Spice Mass. Now we also provide institutional strengthening for the stakeholders, the key stakeholders like Mass, PAN, and Calypso, these three associations. Now the process, of course, we would have to consult with the stakeholders, and we have to plan with them, make rules, make regulations for the festival, and provide training for judges, artists, and other practitioners that will be involved in executing the carnival. Now, the evidence of representation or practice would be the actual carnival or the festival on the period or on the days that they designated shows, events, etc. are put out. So that would be the evidence of the practices itself. So it's the actual festival and the shows leading up to the festivals or the events leading up to the festival. So for example, the Calypso show, the parade of the bands, etc. The tents, the Calypso tents, all of these things would be evidence of the practice that's from the process.
All right, let me ask something here. Do you consider Carnival as a whole to be an ICH element? How do you understand Carnival?
Most of the parts. For example, the traditional aspect specifically. So we look at our traditional mass and also the tents, the history of the Calypso tents, etc. Yeah, the costume making, the wire bending, yeah, all of this, yeah.
All right, would you be able to identify in the first column here, what are, you said PAN, you said some things just now.
Still PAN?
Yeah, you said PAN is an ICH, would you say?
PAN is an ICH.
Still PAN?
Mm-hmm. Still PAN is an ICH?
Yeah, the making of the steel pan.
Okay. Okay. Just list a couple of the ICH within the ICH, or the best word to
the Calypso, yes. The mass.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, we have some of the traditional mass like the Veco, the Shortney, etc. These are ICH. Wild Indian, Maple. Yeah, the Moko Jumbies, yeah. Old Mass as well, which actually tells the story of the social. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right, could just let me complete this here. So the process would be what kind of process you undertake? You will have to engage community at large. Who do you have to, yeah. Who would be your stakeholders?
The Mass Association, the Carnival, the people, all the people who are involved in the production of the Carnival. So the Calypso tents, the leaders of the Calypso tents, the leaders of the steel bands, etc.
Do you have to contact anybody in government?
Well, of course, we take directives from the Ministry of Culture.
Okay. All right. Take directives from.
Yes.
All right. All right, got it. Could you take a look at this and see if it reflects what you said, please?
Yeah, we also work along with the mass band leaders in terms of consultation.
All right. All right, thank you very much, Spice Mass. Is this by any chance the largest single cultural event in the country?
Yeah.
It is, huh?
It is the largest cultural festival, yes.
What are the things I would recommend that if you can undertake it in the long run to try and measure the economic input, economic value of that? You probably do have some idea already in terms of the expenditure, but you'll also want to be able to measure the economic impact, no? I think Ezra might be able to advise you on how to do that. But this would be one way to measure the impact of culture and ICH in terms of development, no?
And while you speak about economic impact, another stakeholder we have consultation will be Corporate Grenada in terms of sponsorship. And 10 years ago, there was an economic impact study done on Spice Mass. And we are in the process now of looking at another economic impact study.
You just off the top of your head, do you remember what that was 10 years ago? What was the economic impact in terms of dollars?
No, at the top of my head, no.
All right. Thank you for that then.
But I know one of the things that came out of the study is that when you look at the overall impact, it has benefits for outside, the hotels benefits, the airlines benefit, the vendors, the suppliers of different things benefit. But when it comes back, if you want to put a measure on Carnival, people may look at it specifically from Spice Mass Corporation and say they're not making money, but the money is fluctuating throughout. Yeah, but not necessarily coming to Spice Mass. So at the end of the day, they may say, okay, Spice Mass, we didn't make money, but Carnival, Grenada made money.
Right.
If I may,
I hate to use the word trickle-down economics, but that's what it is, no?
If I may add to augment Kelvin's statement, that was done by a Dr. Nurse, I think, of UE.
Keith Nurse.
And yes, and it was in the region of $25 million at the time. Yeah, roughly.
Wow.
Okay. Excellent.
All right. Thanks for that, Mrs. Wells.
All right. Thank you, Kelvin. All right. Let's go to culture. Let's hear from the Ministry of Culture.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Alison Carville.
Yes, that's me. So we have what we call a visibility project that we plan for 2022. And the idea is to identify persons with unique skills, basically in crafting, it could be in farming, any activity that makes somebody stands out. So what we have done so far is to do a site visit, and we've had information on persons who did leatherwork, jewelry making. We even found someone who made mini steel pan. We looked at a farmer who farms sea moss, and we're looking at nurseries who has flowers, because I don't know if you know, but Grenada normally gets gold in the Chelsea flower show in Grenada. So we wanted to feature those persons as well. We've also found someone in St. Patrick's who did an installation by the side of the road. Basically, he stuffed persons. So if you're walking, you will think that it's real persons by the side of the road, but it's not. It is persons that are stuffed. And then we're looking at the Jab Jab village to identify how they make the oil and the whole idea of the Jab Jab village. So how we're going to do that, we're going to do some interviews, we're going to do some documentaries, and we're going to record it, and we're going to use different mediums to share it. We're going to use social media, we're going to use GIS. We are planning to visit Petit Martinique in June, hopefully, and Carriacou later on in the year. So far, we have identified about 9 persons who are interested in taking us from gathering your raw materials to your finished product. And so we're hoping to record it, document it, and ensure that we have all the steps that takes a person from the start to the finish. Our friend at the Rome Museum is also one of the persons that we are going to feature, and he is very interested in us getting that project done as well. If we look at the arts in terms of the division of culture, in 2020, we were not able to go to the schools as we normally do. So we started what we call a teaching aid, where we teach things like the drum corps, violin, calypso arts, and dance. We are in the process of creating steel pan, teaching aid for steel pan, and we're also planning to do teaching aid for patois. For this year, we're planning on doing a number of workshops, namely calypso dance, school orchestra. One of the highlights for this year 2022 would be what we call talent search. We are going to search for singers between the age of 11 to 19, and we'll assess their ability to sing. Then we are going to, on weekends, teach them calypso arts from scratch. So it will take about 14 sessions. So we will start in April and hopefully end in November. And basically, we want to take the dying art of calypso. We want to reawaken it, basically. And we're looking at secondary school age students. We are also planning to have concerts in terms of school orchestra and dance, workshops there as well. The idea for us this year is to document everything that we do. So we're going to document, even if it's Independence Calypso show, if it is the Calypso show as well, we're hoping that we can discuss with Spice Mass and meet with them so that we can understand the culture and make sure that we have something recorded and create some documentaries as we go along. And definitely use GIS and any other medium to get the information out there to the public. So that is it for us in a nutshell.
Okay, so what's the name of is it Vision, what was it, Vision what?
Visibility Project.
Visibility Project.
Daryl, I shared with you some of the roadside stuff people. I'm not sure if what I shared with you is actually what she's talking about. You can put it up so maybe she can confirm that's what it is. Anyone you can pick.
You mean the guy in St. Patrick's that has figures on the side of the road?
Right.
Yes.
Did you hear me?
Could you look at this, Alison?
No, Daryl, I said I shared with you some of the stuff roadside people. I'm not sure if those are the ones that Ms. Litt is talking about. So maybe you can put one up and she can confirm.
No, I don't.
No, not Daryl, Nigel. I saw.
Nigel,
I shared it with you.
Yeah.
All right. You okay? I haven't seen it, Ezra.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Miss Allison, could you look at this, please, and see if this corresponds to what you were saying? Workshops in
Yes.
What were the workshops in?
Workshops in Calypso arts, dance, and school orchestra.
Send it on WhatsApp or something.
WhatsApp, yeah.
WhatsApp it to me. Let me see.
Not to you, send it to Nigel.
No, you could send it to me. I can share it.
All right. So now tell me something. This is so the ministry has a responsibility for tangible and intangible heritage, right?
Yes.
So this component of it is focused on the intangible. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Allison. And this is helping to bring things into more clarity, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's just take one more because we won't be able to do all of them. We already I think pass at the end of it. No, but I still want to discover a couple short things here. What about the historians, archaeologists, anthropologists, librarians, and so on?
Mm-hmm.
Any of the historians want to make any particular statement here?
Yes, Mr. Holas is going to go.
Mr. who?
Holas.
Holas, all right.
I'm not a historian, but I'll go from the practitioner's perspective. In particular, tour guide. So the practice would be tour guiding, because for the process, that would be awareness to education, basically, because in the words of Baba Diem, in the end, we would only conserve what we love. We would only love what we understand, and we would only understand what we're taught. So I'm a firm believer in conservation through education. So in practice, I can incorporate ICH elements and information in tours, as well as adding in different ICH sites in Grenada. And for evidence, video documentation, as well as social media presence through reels and blogs, as well as feedback from through reviews.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. When the education part, you'll be doing the educating, or you'll be acquiring knowledge, Mr. Holmas?
Both.
I'm just curious.
So I'll build my capacity, and I'll pass on what I already know, as well as this workshop would be creating a curriculum. From that, I could build to my capacity, in which I'll disseminate directly.
Do you see yourself participating directly in the inventorying process? Documentation and inventory? Sorry, I didn't get that. Do you see yourself participating in the documentation and inventory?
Yeah.
So should I write that here for argument's sake? Because
there's a big delay in the internet now because it's unstable.
Okay, sorry, could you repeat it once more?
He said that he expects to participate. You repeat.
I can participate directly.
So this is critical. Is there a tour guides association in Grenada?
Excuse, I want to add something, Nigel, before somebody answer your question. Is in regards to Armoin, Olvas, who was speaking right now. He's the youth person who is in the conference room, and he shared with us his Indian ritual. So after that, we were talking with him, and he mentioned that there are several Indian traditions they are under threat. So he's willing to rescue those too. So I think that he's very engaged with this project. I just want to mention that. Thank you.
Okay, all right, excellent. Okay, so I was just asking if there is a tour guide association. I'm thinking if there is one, a way to engage tour guides as a body, no? Certainly what you have stated as an individual practitioner of the craft. This is an excellent proposal. I was just asking if you're aware if there's a wider body of tour guides in Grenada.
Yes, he says yes.
Okay. Is there any way to engage them, Mr. Holmes, in your view?
What's that? How to engage the tour guides association.
Expectation. Please remain on the line.
Okay.
With you
Yeah.
shortly.
Okay. Nigel, we invited a few of the tour guides to attend, but there's only one attending. So I don't know how strong the association is, but we might have to strengthen it to have the convenience of dealing with an organization as opposed to an individual.
Okay, I know that there was a mention on day one maybe about the tour guides that were once certified, I guess, by GTA. Is that list maybe is a starting point? And another suggestion, I know we had, I wish GTA were on the call, but they had courses here certifying tours, walking tours or something like that to do with agriculture, I think it was. So the lists may actually exist, but just broken down by what type of tour. But I do know two of them here. I'm sure there were more, absolutely sure.
All right, thank you for that, Margaret. So the, ladies and gentlemen, what we see, is there any practitioner here? We have a practitioner as a tour guide. We have a school, we had from the perspective of the board, perspective of the teachers, we have the Ministry of Culture, we had the Ministry of Tourism. So yet we won't have the time, but we'd want to get feedback from the Ministry of Education, Youth, the Grenada Tourism Authority, some of the other heritage events organizations, the Cultural Foundation. I know Ms. Sherman has already made some commitments there.
Nigel, two
Yes,
things. Marlene is going to send me her contribution by email. She had to leave early. So we will have the public education teachers.
Oh, okay.
And she also will be doing the piece on museums because I think she was wearing two hats. And while we're at it, somebody wanted to get a confirmation about the difference between, I think Angus can answer that, difference between Indo-Grenadians and Indo-natives, two different types of ethnic groups.
Okay.
Did you get it, Nigel? The distinction between Southeast Asian, Indian, and Native peoples. Work.
Okay. Yeah. I think why that question might come because people tend to look to try and identify a person's cultural group or origin or ethnicity based on how they look. And you have people from different parts of the world looking like they look similar, but that's not an accurate way to tell a person's ethnicity, I suppose. But Angus would probably be able to give us the anthropological perspective on that.
And
because
go ahead.
Because, just a comment, because even prior to the Caribbean, remember there was a migration out of South America of Arawak and Carib persons, no? And so even that factors into the overall narrative, right? And you can go further and further back in terms of human migration. Right? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what we will have to do here, it's unfortunate that we have to leave this now.
Yeah.
But we have a framework that Ezra and the team at the Grenada National Trust can begin to and continue to elaborate on, and it will give the more we fill it in, it will give us a broader picture of where you are with ICH in Grenada, no? And the various contributions, and then it will open up channels for discussion for what you'd call it, efficient use of resources, where you can share the technical expertise, the financial resources, and so on. And it will make light work for everyone, no? Lighter work for all the parties involved, no? And so this is excellent. Let's give firstly Ezra a round of applause for conceiving this. You know that he was paying attention then. That would be the best way to say it. Because in order to do this, he would have had to be able to envision all of the variables at work, right? So congratulations on that, Ezra. But I want to also congratulate the stakeholders for very quickly, and I suspect for very quickly identifying the practice, the process, and the evidence, all of which will contribute and will continue to contribute to the safeguarding of ICH in Grenada. So congratulations on that. So I have saved this document now, and I will stop sharing, and I will send it back to Ezra and the team, and they will follow up on its completion. So you have an idea of where you are going collectively with respect to safeguarding of ICH, no? And this is excellent stuff. Right? So thank you for that.
Right. I just want to add something, Ezra, that it looks as though we have to strengthen the Tour Guides Association a little bit by working with the GTA, who organizes them and certifies them and so on, because it's an important part of this project that they have the correct curriculum information to share with the visitors. So we have to organize them. We can't let this slide. We have to move it from an individual presence to an organizational presence.
Okay, one thing I'd like to, before we leave this and get into maybe the final, what I'll do, I'll just go to ICH and sustainable development, just so that you can, that was one way we would have done earlier, but I just want you to have a vision of where ICH can go. And you're already doing some of it. But a comment here is, remember you have 3 main islands, right? You have Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Did this exercise sufficiently account for similar organizations in the other islands, in the Carriacou, for example, and Petit Martinique? Did it adequately account for other organizations? And so, if not, because we can't discuss it now, if not, I put that in the challenge of the project coordinators to do their best to identify those sister organizations on the other islands so that the whole process is as inclusive as possible, no? Right? One of the things, only a couple persons here would have seen Grenada's attempt to complete what is called a periodic report. That is, Grenada, having ratified the convention, was required to complete a report to submit back to the international level on what it has been doing and what it plans to do for implementing the convention. But the mechanism that you have just worked on, proposed by Ezra and being filled in by you, is going to be a good information source for reporting on Grenada's work on implementing the convention in the future. So I can't emphasize enough that that was an excellent exercise and framework that you have proposed there. But again, try and be as inclusive as the other islands as possible, because it's just so that it might not be easy, but see what you can do. No? All right. Yeah. Sorry, Maria, go ahead.
I know two people, Biddy Martinicans, who are very involved in the history of culture of the island. In fact, they're very upset because the Tourism Authority renamed some areas without consulting the natives. So here we go why ICH is important, right? If you'd like, I can forward the contact information of these two ladies to Adriana, and you can try and contact them.
Great.
Excellent, excellent. Let me ask, thank you, Maria. Let me ask Daryl and Adriana, since because we are at time, you need to complete a workshop evaluation.
Yeah.
I think if we could do that now, that would help before I get into the last segment, please. Because what I have decided to do, I will send 2 of the PowerPoints that deal with ICH and sustainable development, but I can actually cover that whole PowerPoint in 3 minutes by doing one particular thing.
Okay.
Right. So
look,
is it?
If people have 3 minutes to spare now, we have the evaluation form online. The poll, I can launch it right now, and you just tick off the boxes. So let's give that a try. If anybody's having a problem, send a message in the chat. How about that, Ezra? Yep.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
So we launch that now.
So you're asking persons to complete, for those on Zoom, to do it there now.
Yeah, right
and
now.
The persons in the room to do it on paper, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to make sure. Yes, sorry. Go ahead.
The poll is anonymous for those of you who are worried about being too critical. You're not going to get a knock in the middle of the night on your front door from us. Don't worry.
The other thing is, I don't know if people in Zoom can access to it. So maybe you can explain them where to find them, just to be sure that they're seeing the poll.
I'm seeing it on my end.
Yeah. Yes, if you've logged in as a participant, you will see it. Now, the only time-consuming part of this poll would be where you have to write out a comment. Because if you're a slow typist like me, then you're in trouble. Okay, but that's right at the end where you can add any comments you want. as opposed to selecting multiple choice questions.
So when I answer that, it don't make no sense if I answer, because I didn't have no. Excuse me,
Hello.
the evaluation form is for online as well, on Zoom?
Yeah, it's available if you're logged in on Zoom, then.
Yeah, because what some of the questions I'm seeing here, I don't think it's for me. Workshop, meeting room, and plastic quality of snacks and beverages and so on.
Yeah.
So what do I put there?
I don't think you should respond, no, to that.
Okay.
I like that. This is a complaint. We'll send you some by courier.
Okay.
Daryl, it appears that a few people on Zoom are not seeing the question. Is there is that?
Well, I don't think so. I tried it. I'm trying it myself now on a separate tablet, and it's coming up okay. So once a person is on Zoom, they're supposed to see it. Okay, so that one is a question for Bill Gates.
You sure Bill Gates owns this app?
But Zoom advertises that this thing works, so we're gonna find out in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping I can copy from somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, not applicable. I was just going to suggest that actually, that I'm doing the same myself. If you don't I realized I got to the end of the form and it counts the number of things you've answered. So you can't submit until you've answered everything, but if you don't have time to fill out the long narrative, just put any, not applicable, or none. If you just put a dash, it doesn't recognize it as a response because it's looking for alphabetic characters. Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah. You could see the results coming in, you know, and it's funny. It's almost like election night.
You're leading in the polls, Daryl?
Well, it looks so.
Prime Minister Daryl Bratwith. So Miss Ventura isn't seeing it either, it seems. I wonder if it's hidden. Can it be hidden somewhere on the page?
It's on my page. I'm not seeing how to submit. I'm clicking submit, but it's not going anywhere.
Because if you look, you will see that you haven't answered all the questions. You will see the 26, and you might see 24 out of 26 or something. So you have to go back and just put any text in the ones where you're supposed to give a verbal answer, not a verbal, a text answer. Just put no or any, not applicable.
Yeah, so I guess I have to just say that the room and facilities, that's excellent. I just presume that it's excellent.
Well, don't worry. Next workshop you can attend in person.
I want to be there in April in person.
Yes.
Or Gloria, we can go attend the workshop where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Where that is? I am in Gov.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to come to Belize.
Oh yes, man, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You know the funny thing about that is that I want to go to Grenada. But you're welcome to Belize anytime.
Okay.
Could you get a link or something?
To do what?
And just because the people I see, we can put the link in the chat.
Let me think. There is no link. The way this works is you launch it while Zoom is open.
So for those persons not seeing it, see if there's a
not seeing it. So if there is if you see it poll,
I don't know how to do it.
Well, more, comment more. More. Do we have poll? Yeah, poll quizzes.
Yeah, well, that's what this is. That's why that is up.
Yeah,
if I click on that now, it might end it and people haven't finished. But okay, let's try it. That's what that is. So this comes up and it comes up on all the devices. See, this one, evaluation form that you could submit.
Why are you not seeing it?
Boy, that between them and Bill Gates, boy.
Somebody.
Something is wrong indeed.
Hey, I just want to say goodbye. I gotta run. I have to run.
Okay. All right. So.
All right, Angus.
All right. Thanks for the input. I think we can end the poll now. Everybody must have completed.
I think you better wait until you get it, because just in case, no? Can you tell who?
Well, I can minimize that window, so we're back to normal. So let's just continue with our discussions.
Ciao, Angus.
All right.
Nice seeing you again.
Yeah.
All right, brother Angus. Take care, man. Thank you for
Okay.
participating.
All right, thanks, thanks a lot. Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks, Angus. Bye.
Okay, Nigel, so over to you.
Yes,
We're just
sir.
Wrapping up now.
So what I want to do now, we're supposed to look at, we had this topic here. Can you see the screen? Am I sharing it?
Not yet.
Not yet. 1 second. This concept of cultural heritage and its link to sustainable development, no?
Yeah.
And what I'll do, I will show you a video, and all of this concept comes out of, let me show you, let me just go through the first 2 slides here so you can see. It comes out of this critique that has plagued what was first the Millennium Development Goals. I don't know if you heard of those. And there is this global set of goals set out by the countries of the world at the UN about how to end poverty and drive development. And one of the main criticisms was that culture did not appear in the 2005 Millennium Development Goals. And gradually, countries began to ensure that culture was stated explicitly and recognized. There were some resolutions and declarations made about the importance of culture in terms of these development goals. So that by the time 2015 came around, when the Millennium Development Goals were replaced by the Sustainable Development Goals, there was this thing about culture appearing, but here's the caveat. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, but none of the 17 goals states culture specifically. Instead, culture permeates the goals themselves, not so specifically, and we look at them in a second. You'll find aspects of culture in Sustainable Development Goal 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, 12, 14, and 15, right? So almost half of the development goals include aspects of culture. I'll show you an example in a minute. But here are the 3 principles with respect to what they call now the SDGs. 3 principles include human rights, including cultural rights, sustainability, and equality. Each of the goals having what you'd call the 3+1 dimensions: a social dimension, an environmental dimension, an economic dimension, and of course a dimension for the ever elusive peace, no? The UNESCO Universal Declaration on Cultural Diversity, Article 5, says that cultural rights is an enabling environment for cultural diversity. Cultural rights are an integral part of human rights, which are universal, indivisible, and interdependent. The flourishing of creative diversity requires the full implementation of cultural rights. All right. And so what just to simplify this, what this is saying is that a development which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So that is sustainable development. And when you combine that with the concept of culture, we're saying that based on individuals' cultural rights, with respect to ICH in particular, it is desirable where communities, groups, and individuals desire to do so to safeguard their intangible cultural heritage for future generations, right? Because in the present time, it might constitute particular values, particular ideals and functions which keep the society together. And so you want to be able to meet the needs of future generations, even through the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage. So it is essential here for inclusive social development, for environmental sustainability. I think this is a topic that has been in the backdrop all along here. For inclusive economic development. So picture where ICH fits into this. How can we take our practitioners and knowledge bearers and persons involved with ICH and create sustainable livelihoods for them? The band players, the calypsonians, the craft persons, right? I think the Ministry of Culture had alluded to this, no? In their visibility plan. This is also essential for peace, right? It helps, pursuing an ICH agenda for Grenada will help to keep your society together, no? In Grenada, there are 100,000 of you, I was told. You might have another similar number in the diaspora. I don't know. But put that in a frame of 7 billion people in the world, 7.5 billion persons. So you're understanding what it is you're dealing with, no? In terms of your own identity in that much larger global space, right? Envisaging culture as a lever and driving force of development. Everything emanates from culture. What are the enablers for implementing the 2030 agenda? We have 4 quadrants. The first one deals with the global financial system, making sure it's stable, making sure that there is access to technology. The last 20 years, for example, have seen a technological explosion, right? Some of us have only owned cell phones for the last 12, 15 years. Others maybe a little bit longer, but it's just recent that the cell phone is such a technological novel, no? I mean, where everyone has one. In the lower quadrant, sustainable food and nutrition, food security. Where does ICH fit into that? Right? Food security, where does ICH fit into that? In the upper right-hand corner, sustainable use of natural resources. You are surrounded by water. You have a particular biosphere. Where does ICH fit into that? Your fishermen, your forest, your arable land. Right? Where does ICH fit into that with your traditional medicine? In the lower right-hand quadrant, democratic and coherent global governance mechanisms. You have a democratically elected government, you have frequent elections, and now you are in the practice developing frameworks for implementing in a more formal way, an informal sector, the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage. And at the center of it, all of it is to enable environmental sustainability for future generations, inclusive economic development for current generations, inclusive social development for current and future generations, and for peace and security. All right. So here are the 17 goals. And as I read them, just ask yourself, where do you imagine culture fitting into it? The living heritage, where does it fit into it? End poverty in all its forms everywhere. Goal 1. Can living heritage play a role in that? 2, end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. Can living heritage play a role in that? Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Where does ICH fit into that? Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Where does living heritage fit into that? Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Where does living heritage fit into that? Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Where does ICH fit into that? Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Where does ICH fit into that? Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and faster innovation. Some people say there's no new skill under the sun when it comes to innovation. What skills, traditional skills, can be brought forward for innovation? Where does ICH fit into that? Reduce inequality within and among countries. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Where does ICH fit into that? Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. Where does ICH fit into that? Conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems and other ecosystems. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. When we think of the SDGs, ladies and gentlemen, these are ideals, but I like to localize them. Think of you, yourself, in your own capacities. Think of your own communities. Think of your country. Where do you fit into that? And what is it about you as an individual? What is it about you as an individual, as a cultural being with cultural rights, with a particular way of living and doing things? How do you make it happen for Grenada?
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just...
All right. Now, listen. The challenge, I think, for us, it's good to contemplate these things. But just think of, we are missionaries because we're starting from ground zero here. And we are trying to convert people. And what the evangelical religions do when they first arrive in our island, they ask people what their social problems are. And after they start to show that they're helping there, they start to talk about Jesus and all this. So I think that while it's good for us to look at the global problems that exist, the only way we will get anybody in any of these communities to listen to us is say how ICH can relate to them personally and directly.
Exactly.
So we have to drill right down to that level.
That's right.
Good.
That's right.
All right.
Hence my last comment where do you as an individual, how can you as an individual and what it is about your cultural way of being and doing, how can you ensure a better life for yourselves, your families, your community, your country? And that, I think that's a basic thing. Right?
Okay.
I have a question, and
yes, ma'am.
Can you show up again the slide where it says the Sustainable Development Goals? The second page, I believe so. At the very end, please. So, okay, in our role of implementing the ICH Convention, and meantime, we are implementing the project and securing the best practices. But at the same time, seeing the objectives, what happens if how we will make a balance in order to not create a conflict between what is the ideal scenario of implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals against or not against that might be in conflict with ICH elements or certain traditions. For example, with the objective 12, 14, and the ocean. So for example, I'm not judging, just explaining something and putting a practical example. So if we have a fisherman that is normal, and there might be an ICH element as well of catching turtles, okay, because this is a part of their of their culture, and at the same time they're ensuring or securing the food for certain seasons of the years that are permitted to be catch, I believe. So who we are in order to say which of our the sustainable developments above them, these ICH traditions, ICH elements, cultural practices, or how we document that in order not to judge, but at the same time is part of their ICH elements. So I have that question.
Well, let me tell you something. I look at it from the perspective of the convention, and then I know the convention, but I also live in Belize, no? So the convention, anything that has to do with animal rights and so on, animal abuse, and that's a no, in the context of the convention, right? So that's one. Two, in terms of the use, the unsustainable use of resources, not everything, however, from culture is beneficial to society in the current time. So that is a process of negotiation between the communities and the state, the people who run the state. So I'll give you an example of a similar you talked about. Some fishermen, they used to create these things they call seine here in Belize. These are like nets that run for a kilometer. They drop it in the middle of the ocean and it harvests everything that passed by, right? That is not sustainable fisheries, right? So what the local organization did with international funding is that they identified a few $1 million and set up a program where they bought their nets from them, asked them to stop doing that, and gave them money to invest in whatever new venture they wanted to undertake, right? So it's a process of negotiation, no? Right? So as life is on a whole. So I can only give you that example, but you in Grenada will know what is sustainable for you and what isn't, and what you can and cannot do. But not everything from culture works in modern time. I'll give you an example. In the last 30, 40 years, and coming out of ancient history, young Maya women were being given off to their partners, husbands, starting at age 14 and so on, right? Certainly that can't work in a modern society, right? So everything from culture is not necessarily, will not work in the modern time. So it's a process of negotiation, no? Right? And so there's been had to gradually educate and pass laws and all of these things in order to try and deal with some of those issues, right? So those are just a couple examples I can give.
Okay, so that means that always we have to keep in mind that the human rights are above everything.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Yes, indeed.
But you see, the thing is, this is a practical exercise we're doing here. And it's good to have public debate on intellectual matters, ethics, and so on. These are good. But we have to make this succeed, we have to get down to the hard practical matters.
Yes, sir.
The evidence we have is that Spice Mass is the biggest ICH event and the most successful. So therefore, let us learn from them. There are 3 points that comes out of that. It generates revenue, so we must find ways for our ICH project to generate revenue for people. It creates jobs. We must do the same.
Yes, sir.
And it creates enjoyment. So even if it costs money, people say it's worth it. So we don't know, we can't at this point say that we're going to generate revenue or create jobs, but we could certainly create enjoyment. So we have to make this project from this minute onwards be like a part of the entertainment of the nation. We have to think, and that is where I think we are weak. We have to think how are we getting this story out to the public over the next 4 weeks, and then for the months that follow from there. Because I'll tell you something, if you just let me share the screen a minute. The Grenada government cabinet published, they gazetted 24 sites that would be identified as national heritage sites, and that's great. Gazette is considered the formal official way to let the public know, but nobody saw it. The only people who saw that were the people who prepared it. And all we did inside, let's see if I can get this up on running. All we did inside the trust was take the same information that the government provided in their gazette, fortified system of fortification of St. George. You put a photograph there. You put something that people can relate to. It's entertaining. Here you have the same place, and you can, people can visit the site and walk around it remotely. And so you create some excitement. So when we are gathering data, this is Dumfries and Carriacou. We can't leave Carriacou out, right? Margaret. It's the same information that's in the Gazette, but you attach a photo and a little buzz, and now you have something that people want to watch. I can get school kids to watch this, but I cannot get them to read the Gazette. Okay, so let's get that straight, that we must have a focus on marketing and excitement and entertainment. We will get to the education after we capture the people. We must capture their imaginations. And we have to use the digital thing to do that. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Some people call it edutainment.
Edutainment. Everything. You want to be able to walk around a site and you can see it. So even somebody overseas can say, boy, I want to go to Levera Beach. Look at that place. Look at those islands offshore. And it's the same information that the government had, well, there's no write-up here, but still, we just add it. So we must be visual.
Yeah.
If you want to capture people in the 21st century, you got to create some buzz.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the last portion of it, really. Talking about just giving you a broader context for what you're doing. And then I think Daryl rightly put us in a very introspective position, talking about Grenada and as individuals, as a community, what you want and will be doing. I don't have anything else to say to you at this juncture. We have come to the end of this week. And I'd like to thank you for your patience in this new model of implementing this particular workshop. It was new. We had persons seen and unseen participating, right? We had a lot of chat and comments. I certainly I don't think I accounted for all of them, and I apologize for that. But I most certainly appreciated the candidness and the openness to share. And I was hopeful that I was able to also share with you. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for your hospitality from a distance, no? And I turn you over now to Ezra and Darren.
Okay, thank you.
I want to thank you.
But wait, let's call Yuri before we say anything, and give him time to get ready. Yuri, are you there? Okay, so over to you, Ezra, while Yuri gets ready.
Well, I just want to echo what what Nigel just said. Thanks to all the participants. The level of enthusiasm has been great throughout the week. Usually in workshops like these, you have serious attrition along the way, but I think we were able to maintain on average maybe about 40 people participating actively, and that's pretty awesome. And the conversations were great. I think we added some value to what existed in the past. In other words, whatever we were doing, the work we did this week added some serious value, and now we have a focus, we have a path forward, and I hope we take it and we take it seriously. Now, there will be workshops coming up pretty soon, next month. You'll get some information on for registration and also the themes. And those who will be participating, please, if you haven't done so by then, when you get information that you completed your portion in the practice framework that was given out, that was discussed this morning. So thanks again, and I think this has been a great experience for all of us. Darren.
Okay. Well, I have to say that's it, folks. It was wonderful. I was a little concerned, like some people, that, a week is a long time. And of course, there's a lot of ground to cover, and it really is necessary. You could see the detail. You all have copies of the convention. If you get a chance to browse through it again, just as a refresher. But the next workshop is very hands-on. This is what we are here for, the implementation. But we couldn't really do this without the background knowledge. We need to have that and be reminded this is a framework for doing things. Let's try to operate in a formal way. And before I leave, I just want Yuri to say a few words, because he was quite instrumental in getting us through the last 2 years of the application. And he's the senior representative of UNESCO in this activity. So Yuri, over to you.
Thank you very much, Darrell. It was a pleasure to be associated with this group. During the 5 days, I think we had a very dynamic workshop. And yes, we all know that there is a certain fatigue of having the meetings online. But I think this meeting made a difference. Made a difference because of our active participation, because of great delivery by Nigel, and because of the group that was there to facilitate, to organize. So thank you so much to the Heritage Trust of Grenada for making the successful application and being involved that deeply into the process, and then also supporting the periodic reporting on the 2003 convention that was conducted last year for the Latin America and the Caribbean. So thank you very much. And we are looking forward to the next meeting, and hopefully it will be presential. So with this, let me also express the gratitude to organizers, to the support of the ministry and the support of the National Commission that was provided during the application and implementation of the project. So thank you so much, dear participants. We'll see each other again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yuri. And with that, we can give each other a pat on the back and a round of applause. Thank you all. Godspeed, and see you in a month's time.
Daryl,
Go ahead.
Since Yuri is here, can we put on the cameras to get him in one of the pictures, please?
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah,
Yuri, cameras on, everyone.
Thank you. I was just escaping from another meeting to join you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I didn't realize Anthony Hopkins was also in here. Is this the same Anthony Hopkins from Hannibal and so on?
Well, we hope not, because he's sitting in the cabinet room, so he might be devouring our
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, the Silence of the Lambs. Wow.
Hello.
Yes. Well, let's see. Let's see if anyone
You're the
else will
photographer.
join. Yeah, let me see if anyone else will join. Yeah. Let me see. All right, everybody, look at your camera and show some teeth.
All right.
All right. Brenda, I see you're trying not to smile there, Brenda. Good one. All right, guys, got it. Thank you. I'll send this to you in a little while.
Right. Okay.
Take care.
Good. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yes, Mr. Daryl and Mr. Ezra and Mr.
Sorry, I
Adriana.
missed that picture.
Oh, you missed. But this must be the Grenadian Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, this is Grenada, Anthony.
Better be.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
great.
man.
It was a great workshop. I think it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from it, and I look forward to working with my colleagues in furthering the ICH. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Anthony,
Bigger
thank you for joining.
turnout and response than we expected, and COVID did us a favor, actually.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Making us all Zoom experts.
I would suggest for your in-house IT that you have an owl. The owl is a special device that sits in the middle of the hall and is activated by person speaking. So whoever speaks, it shows them in the camera and you hear it one time. So you don't have to move around a tablet or do anything. So when you're having it, if you don't have one, just call me and I'll try to help you out there.
All right.
Okay, if you could just send us a link on, anyway, put it in the chat.
No problem. I can do that as well.
Or WhatsApp, because we're moving from the chat now to WhatsApp. That's how we're going to be in touch.
No problem.
Yeah. Because yes, you're right. If
hello, Ms. Wells.
People in the room, definitely an owl or a central mic that can detect where the sound is coming from and switch its focus there. Yeah.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Good. What new messages?
Thank you so much for everything.
Yes, man. Good. Yes.
Oh, Miss Wells.
Miss Wells, I just called you.
We have 7. I think we will have 10 people here. I only have 7.
What? Oh. Yes, teacher. Well, they failed the exam.
Miss Shama Wells, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm not hearing you. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying, just to add, not a dampener on this, but the owl is a little bit costly. It costs a bit of an investment for you, but it is an excellent piece of equipment, especially in forums like that, where, as he described, it can shift from one. What you can probably do is ask for that sort of assistance going forward for your workshops via GIS. It's a piece of equipment that is owned by the IT department in the ministry. So you probably can ask for that to be used for that purpose. Yeah?
That's why I said if you need it next time, just give me a call. I can help you.
Oh, yes, you're in IT. I just yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yes. But it will suit you perfect for your in-house workshop, especially if you are going to have multiple people there. Good recommendation. I also want to say, as you speak about visual, and I know that you didn't get down to the media. I suggested in the chat that GIS is included as it relates to videography, because you ought to be able to utilize that government entity to do a lot of videography for you. Because we are visual people, we are oral people, and a great example you gave of how you bring to the public these sites by visuals, by that sort of means. And we also have to take into consideration the social networks as well, where we are able to reach to a lot of the younger generation that is out there by impacting them. One may look at the new platform of TikTok as more of a social engagement, but we can definitely use it to impart that the kind of information that we want to impart to the younger generation. YouTube, Facebook, etc. That's their platform, that's their world, and we have to embrace their world in order to get to them. So I would like to see you know, that sort of development going forward. I'm not saying that it isn't in the making, but I do believe that we have to get there in order to get them on board in a meaningful way and bring that knowledge to them and have them be a part of the process.
Yeah, I want to support as well as on that, and that can add some quality programming to the GIS. Because we can have an ICH segment every week, you know, highlighting one aspect, as we did with the inventory, where the crew would go out and take some clippage, and you have just the same people we have every week. You can have a different person based on the one that they are closely associated with, just sharing their thoughts on it and so forth. And that is simple, how we can help should I say share on the whole culture and heritage.
If I may also say this, in my days in direct media, I'm not in direct media anymore, as you are aware. I have done a tremendous amount of discussions, interviews with folks throughout the island, and the amazing stories that are there, things that have been forgotten along the way, that we need to resuscitate and show some sort of respect to. And you know, it's all embedded within the communities. So we have to go there and find it and recreate the stories so that the others can, you know, benefit from it. I also believe that you have some outstanding photographers as well on island, young, vibrant persons involved in some magic photography, if I may say so, because sometimes they bring you some photos, you say, wait, now that's the same place that I passed last week Friday, you know, just capturing it with their lens in a special way. I think we need to have that as well. It's just an amazing process that I'm really looking forward to seeing materialize and manifest itself in a large way. I'm very excited about it.
Yes. Who do you think we can talk to in GIS about the possibility of us being part of their information feed, like in terms of a story, coming up with stories to give them and so on?
It would be Leslie Ann Johnson, and that is a given. I can tell you that for sure. They have also a distribution mechanism where they would send that out to the various media houses. So it's a good bet to use them. They send it out to all the media houses out there and other stakeholders like myself. So you need to use that channel. There's also a plethora of free media that exists that you can use those channels as well to get your information out with no cost to you. All the little talk shows that are about the place, and you know, that sort of thing, whether it's television or whether it's I think you've been using some of that. But GIS is a good base, a good center for you to take advantage of, for want of a better term. Get a lot through them.
Well, we're looking for some volunteers, whether full volunteer or partly paid or whatever, to help us with our PR, because that's the area that we need to strengthen.
That's a key area, Darrell. That's a key area. I can't swear to volunteerism in that regard, because a lot of them seem to be on that list of self-employment.
Sure,
you
yeah.
know? But you have to have a multiplicity of a cadre of people that can really bring you some volunteerism. And, you know, of course, there are instances when you will have to pay a fee or so. Especially if you're looking for professional content, be it video, be it written professionally, you may have to have a fee to be paid, but I'm sure that that is there for you to find. My role, I can recommend, I can help as much as I can from my media perspective, because I still engage with the media, you know, but you need that. It's needed. Yes. And again, you would need someone who has the capabilities of manipulating and taking advantage of the online platforms as well, to stir up that interest, especially for the younger generation.
And guiding us, because you see, we tend not to think in a marketing sense. We looking to gather data and manage data, and you know, that's our strength. So the whole mindset of, boy, you know, you got to spin this into something that we don't even go there. So we will need that guidance. So we intend to put some tenders out in next week. You know?
Well, like I say, you know, wherever we can assist, we're more than happy to.
Sure. That's great. Nice input. And also thanks for that list of all the small community organizations, because you know, that helped a lot.
Most definitely.
Good to meet you.
If I may also indicate, you know, we're getting closer to a carnival season, and music is a very good channel as well. And maybe you can consider not just a jingle that would relate to your project, but you can actually, as a matter of fact, let me just say this, you probably can run a little side competition with our artists for a creative soca for the project. You give them a nice prize. You may be able to get a corporate citizen to sponsor that prize. Run a side competition. It can happen just before Carnival, so you have that going. Punchy, nice, you know, punchlines and get the flow.
Maybe we can have a whole mass too, right? Whole mass Juve morning, right?
Yes, you know. So there's a lot to be done.
Excellent.
Actually, an idea that came up during the workshop is treasure hunt for ICH for 29 June, Shama, that we give a prize, maybe $1,000 for the person finding the most heritage sites within the parish of St. John's, you know, to get people aware of some of those areas that we have, you know, that kind of thing.
Excellent idea. So looking forward to your proposal for Fisherman's Birthday, Mr. Hopkins.
I know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. Okay, folks. Well, that's good.
You.
Thanks again, huh? Really appreciate
Most
all the
welcome,
input.
man. Take care.
Good. You're going now.
Yeah, good to meet you, Ms. Wells.
Oh, you too. I think you're doing an excellent job.
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Hopefully I see you soon.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Very much on board. Very much on board.
All right. Good.
Okay, have a great day now. And
You
weekend.
too.
Nice. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay. So, right. So it's okay.
I should be writing, but we might be there. I think we should summarize everything I promised.
Yeah.
And I just thank you for suggesting these areas of support and collaboration. Because they go on this, all of that
Gone. Yeah, boy.
saying, right?
Yeah, Ezra, that thing you designed there worked out pretty good, man.
Boy, that was really good.
Yeah. So I will email that back to you right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll email that back to you. One of the things you should do though, should have a sit down with I don't know, I can't recall if Daryl was there consistently, but I know Adriana was at the training a couple years ago in 2020 on the periodic reporting. But you should sit with Adriana to see how that factors into what you propose there, no? The categories and so on.
She's not here now.
Yeah.
Boy, she had to go. Husband under general.
Come back. Okay. All right.
Whose projects?
He's gonna come
Oh, projects is somebody in tourism.
Yeah. Daryl, you're serious, man. I see you got 3 or 4 different screens for yourself.
Well, he's gonna lose them in a while, you know.
Because
the guys come to pick them up, right?
You see, we don't have an engineer on site, so I have to have one screen with just the chats, one with just people raising their hands to see that people not in the waiting room too long. It looked like NASA control center.
Wait, you have several screens in front of you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, who's the young guy with here in the screen there? Says Daryl Brathwaite.
No, that's Ezra. The only young guy. He's a spring chicken in the group.
I have a brother-in-law, right? He's he's like 40. No. But you know these genetic things where they lose the hair and so on.
Yes. So correct.
In the middle of his head is bald, right?
Yeah.
So his younger brother came up to him and said, "Boy, what did the barber do to your head? He put the fade in the middle and not on the side."
I mean, there's some people when you're taking a photograph, they want to present their best side and all kind of thing. But there's some fellas, you can't photograph them from behind because you see a landing strip on top there. Yes, man. A clearing in the jungle.
Yeah. But since I was maybe 16, I try not to let my hair grow for some reason. Soon as it like this, I'm ready to go to the barber already. I take out most of it, you know. I just don't let my hair grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, Nigel, one of the reasons why this happened with this framework is that when I entered graduate school,
you ever turn on your mic?
Yeah.
When I entered graduate school, the guy that ran the program, he said, "We're going to teach you to model anything, anything mathematically. So, any problem when we came with any problem you throw at us, it doesn't matter. You know, decision who's going to wash the dishes, we can model that. You know?
Yeah.
So we always think in that kind of way. You know.
Nice.
You know, it's like
I understand. I understand.
Yeah, that was the training.
And
that's where, you know, that's why it's called policy economics, that they throw anything at you because education, health, whatever, transportation, water, whatever, employment, whatever, you can model a problem.
Excellent. Yeah, but
Boy,
it turned out pretty good, man.
Problem solving in Grenada. Just you can't let anything phase you at all.
No.
Right.
Yeah, I can't. I see what you mean. Daryl, I put in Daryl in the chat. I put a Word document there and I pasted all the photographs in that Word document, so you can use it for your PR, your media thing.
Oh, good.
If you see it in the chat, you can download it. It's right there.
Okay. Chat.
Yeah.
Let's see. Boom.
I have different versions of.
Nice.
I see different versions of all. It's funny the number of different faces people have. You know.
Yeah.
Adriana has like 7 different looks, you know?
Sure, right.
Yeah, you have to pick one that way you look really young, you know?
Yeah.
Funny thing about photographs.
Yeah.
Anyhow, guys, I am going to sign off for today.
Yeah, we signed it, everybody. We're going to collapse now. We a well-deserved rest.
I have some what they call some crab cream in the fridge. I'm going to go take a glass of that and watch MSNBC, see what's going on with Bloody Mary Putin.
Well,
Bloody Mary, man.
Did you see that name, Yuri Peskov?
Yeah, no,
I swear to God, that's a